So as you can see, we had a humongous fire a few weeks previously, and it caused total devastation. I'll put a link up to that video. Here I'm just explaining how one of the trees fell over because of the fire, and I saw an opportunity in it. We needed some bedside tables, and I thought we could get 2 out of there. So a few weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I returned with a chainsaw and my father. He's doing all the work and the heavy lifting here because I'm actually dealing with a couple of broken ribs from a fall off of a mountain bike. So we're just preparing the main trunk, getting rid of all of the little branches and nubs that are sticking out. Once that was done, we could start on the first one. Figured we cut them to start with at around 60 centimeters tall. These logs are quite substantial, so it takes a couple of cuts to get through them. And by the time we did the first one, we realized that they weigh about 70 or 80 kilograms each. So first one out the way, and then we measured off the second one. We're not using the bottom section of the tree because that's got the most fire damage and is useless for this application. It's worth mentioning at this point that this is what we call a spider gum tree. It's extremely hard, extremely dense wood, which doesn't really rot, and it doesn't really attract many pests or wood borer beetles. Nothing really eats it. It's a very, very hardy wood. Having said that though, this is still a very wet tree. It's not dried and aged. It's just a tree that caught alight and burnt and fell over in the fire. So there will definitely be risk of it cracking once it dries out, but I'm not too concerned. These are meant to be rustic bedside tables that were free. Now that they're cut, the next challenge is to load them. First obstacle is under the fence. These things, like I said before, weigh like 70 or 80 kilograms, and I'm dealing with a busted couple of ribs and potentially very high on painkillers at this point. But the show must go on, and there are only 2 of us to load this, so no point in whining about it. And one thing I learned during the fire and doing things like this is that nature really doesn't cooperate with you. We obviously had to get these stumps over to the workshop to do all the finer finishings on it, removing the bark, getting it to the right height, leveling the tops on the bottoms, and doing some sanding, routering the top to smooth it off, and kind of just finishing them so that they look like a piece of furniture that belongs in the house. So here we are, almost at the workshop, and kind of from this point on, it's more like a war of attrition against this stump. So we just have to work it and work it and work it until I'm totally happy with it for it to go in the house. So I'll stop yakking in your ears, turn up the music, and you can follow the story. So the next morning I had to wrestle these massive stumps into position. I wanted to find a really good angle for them to show some of the characteristics, so it took a little bit of fettling and moving around. These are extremely simple, raw and rustic bedside stands, but I'm really pleased with how they turned out. Just big enough to hold a lamp and maybe a mobile phone. These are perfect for us. We don't need any more. I love the simplicity of them and the look and the feel of them. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gave you some inspiration. They are truly beautiful, and my wife and I are very pleased with them. I think they will last for many, many, many years. It's the best, simplest bedside tables that I could come up with. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to share and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one.